Welcome to Rules of Villainy, episode 43, where 3 new trading card game players quest and challenge their way to the competitive top tables and discuss their opinions on Disney's Lorcana. This evening, or morning, or whatever you're listening, we'll be covering the latest news in the Lorcana, answering your questions, and going over the latest developments in the metagame. I'm Villain Vince, joined as always by my 2 co-hosts, Villainy Andy and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. How we doing?
It's been an interesting day, probably an interesting week by the time everybody hears this.
Yeah, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. One thing I will just say though, which is, I think Andy will be upset about this because it kind of delves into another game that we don't talk about. But if you're listening to this now, and may the 4th be with you. May the 4th be with you.
Okay, all right, that's acceptable.
But yeah,
I have my Darth Vader ears on. Oh man, I missed an opportunity. Maybe I'll wear them at the sets on Sunday.
I have all on this wall, like a bookshelf I have over here. I have all the Lego helmets collection from Star Wars.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
So,
did you ever get the special edition Darth Vader from Target? It was like a $40 set that was released very briefly, and then they just took it away. It was a Target exclusive.
No,
it was like $40. It was really cool, and then they took it away. And now I think it's I haven't looked in a while, but it's like $200-$300 to get it. And it's a mini head bust. It's not like the normal size head helmets that they typically do.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but yeah, no, I didn't.
Welcome to Legos of Villainy, where 3 new brick builders combine and build their way to the competitive. Whatever.
Keep going. Keep it going. Podcast within a podcast.
Podcast within a podcast. Honestly, this is just my way of talking about my hobbies within our podcast because I'm lazy and don't want to create other podcasts. So like some days it's gonna be Formula One, some weeks it's Lego.
We are.
It's a great way for the listeners to kind of see past the screen of Lorcana and see who we are as people too.
Yeah, they often might come here for one thing and skip past this part. I wonder how many viewers we just lost. Lego nerds.
Listen. I'm just gonna say this: if you're not also ever tempted when you walk by the aisle in Target that has Legos,
it's a good aisle.
Who are you?
It's Lego. There's no.
I get it. Okay, I'm aware. Thank you. I'm okay. Thank you.
I had Greg Miller from the Kind of Funny podcast yelling at me on one of their daily shows a couple weeks ago about correcting it. I was just giving him a hard time in the chat. And he's like, "Okay, listen, Mayor. I know it's Legos
with all the things going on in the world.
Yeah,
we are pretty close to a supercut of all the various podcasts that we have. We got the Vrooms of Villainy and the Beards of Villainy,
Bricks of Villainy.
Yeah, we got a lot of them. So
those are the ones you step on and hurt yourself.
I will say lots of cool new sets for Lego coming out in celebration of the Star Wars. But did you end up getting though? No, I'm gonna reel this back. Okay, we're gonna go back to Disney here.
Good
and stuff. Did you pull the trigger in getting the Beast Castle yet? Either of you?
No. I want it so badly. I just have no place to put it. Yeah, it's also very expensive.
Very expensive.
Well, just buy less Lorcana.
No, we gotta save all our money for more Lorcana. Reveals are about to come soon, right? Weeks.
They are.
Weeks, days, maybe even. I don't know.
I feel like we're very close.
Yeah, it's right around.
We have to be in the days or week.
Yeah. We're about to get that.
This is coming out on Friday, and we know Ravensburger has a big announcement on Tuesday. So
which I'm sure we'll get some announcements of cards for Reign of Jafar. So we're not even, by the time you're listening to this, as Brad said, just days away. And we have some other news though. So we do know, if you're listening to this, there's been a lot of news this week. Some of which we are not going to discuss because they're leaks from sources we don't know, and we don't know what's coming. And we want to respect the Lorcana team, the Ravensburger team, that is putting their effort together to do this Lorecast. Did they call it a Lorecast, or is it
They called it the next chapter.
the next
Is
chapter?
what they very, very like hammered down. Like this is the name of it. Is the next chapter of. It very much feels like a lorecast, but the fact that they keep hammering in the next chapter terminology, rings a lot of bells.
They're still nailing down a name. I mean, since Rules of Villainy was taken, we know that.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, who knows? I wonder if there will be a Rule of Villainy, like not a Rule of Villainy, but a Rules of Villain card. Like, will we get another rule in Reign of Jafar?
Have to.
We have to. It has to be Jafar, too.
Or we riot. Yeah. Jafar, or we grab sword. Jafar gets rule, or we grab sword.
We grab sword. We make them walk the plank.
Yes.
But yeah, so we won't be talking about some of those things that you may have seen. We're going to talk all about all the stuff next week, and we'll also be joined by Villainess Kirsten to talk with us too. So it'll be the four of us to talk about everything that came out of the next chapter Lorecast. Brad's right; they did emphasize the next chapter. So and they stressed a few times, I think, in the Discord that is like their emphasis on the next chapter part of that. So
shout out to you, Vince, for thinking of the word emphasis, because that's the word I was circling in my head and couldn't find, and I kept saying hammered down. Emphasis is the word that I wanted to say.
Well, listen,
words
sometimes
of villainy.
Yeah. But they did confirm one of the rumors about worlds. So that information did come out, but Ravensburger quickly jumped on Twitch today to give a very brief announcement about Worlds. That the date, they confirm the date, correct? In that, I don't remember.
It is my birthday.
It is
June
your birthday.
28th and June 29th.
I mean, they picked the right month.
I have two birthdays.
Yeah,
they did pick the right month, Mr. June 2nd over there, right?
Yeah, June 2nd. There you go. Good memory, sir.
I only know because you're mad about my jersey number. I only took the 2 for the second rule of villainy because it's Scar.
That's
like,
right.
It's my birthday.
It's fine. But the big news out of this is the fact that it's going to not be open to the public. I think part of that, the quick response there, we're going to talk a little bit more about our opinions on it. But the quick response seemed to be really to prevent folks from booking travel when they heard the date to go and rush out. And so they quickly jumped on. So I really appreciate that Ravensburger was very quick with that, action to get on Twitch, put that information out there, and you can go watch that video on demand on Twitch. And we'll link that in the description below. But moving on to some other, unfortunately, more local news, Brad.
Yeah, if got a few minutes for a story here. I'll start off by saying that the worst part of it is that I do have permission from Kristen to talk about it. I was informed last week that Grapes Games are a store that's been very good to us. The store that got me into this game to be where I'm at today is closing. Just for reasons that are known to Kristen and Andy. It's just it's hard out there, I guess. But it was really hard to take. We had probably, I don't know the legalities of everything, that we probably had our last league day this past Sunday. And, we had a big turnout. Everybody was there to support. And I want to encourage, while they are still open, everybody who's listening to go check them out and support them as much as you can. We are still having the set championship on Sunday. We will be streaming it. The Rules of Villainy will be streaming it, as always. One of our favorite things to do, and the opportunities that Grapes has provided us, and me specifically, to be here today is because of them. And it's such a bummer to hear that they are closing the doors. And I wanted to give them a shout out and let them know how grateful we are for hosting all of this stuff and letting us be a part of it. And I'm going to stop now for a second because I'm going to cry if I keep talking. So I want to apologize to anybody who's hearing it from me first. I knew about it last week, and Kristen said I could talk about it last week, but it didn't feel right. I knew there were still some locals who didn't know, who play there regularly, and I thought it would make more sense for them to hear it from her first, because it's like a little family over there, right? And so I apologize if you're hearing it from me first, but please go check them out while you can. They've been nothing but great to this community, and I want to wish them the best.
Yeah. We'll just say that they've been great to us offering the space to be able to cast, run our own events that we've had as well that we wouldn't be able to have done without them. And it's going to be a great loss to our local community without Grapes Games in there. And we also thank them for getting Brad involved, because I think you were like a pop collector back then in the day, right? Is that how you got? And then
I think I've told the story on here before. I was trying to sell off a lot of those. I have so many of them still in totes and boxes in storage. But I was at a local toy convention, a bi-monthly toy convention that they do here called Toy Man, and Grapes just happened to be a corner booth there. And I knew of Disney Lorcana coming out, and I was only interested in collecting cards. And I didn't know about the local game store early releases, right? And so I was expecting it to still come out in a couple weeks or however much later it was from the early store release. And I was walking around the convention trying to sell some stuff at one of my buddy's booths. And I was like, hey, they got Lorcana starter decks over there. And we were all like, what? So we went over there, we bought them. They had a bunch of singles for sale. I knew nothing about card collecting and, what the values of I was like, this card's $20. It's probably like Cusco at the time, like, this is crazy. I'll try my luck with these starter decks, not knowing, they were pre-cons and all this stuff. And I end up following them on Facebook. I got their business card, and then I learned about their league. And then I decided, well, I have all these cards. Let's go try out their league. And then I found out that how much I actually enjoy this game, watching Ryan Miller's videos online with the different creators and stuff, teaching the game, and going there, meeting the community. And we had this nice little family that's expanded. It's expanded from like 6 to 8 players at the beginning to like the set championships that we host there now, or just even the weekly the weekly leagues are 12 to 16 people. It's
biggest in St. Louis.
Yeah,
we had the biggest, the single biggest Lorcana event in all of St. Louis. I think probably like the top 2 or 3 of the events of all of them have been at Grapes.
The last 2 set championships have been one of the highest, if not the highest. And then the Sorcerer Mickey tournament that we hosted, signed by Ryan Miller, was at Grapes Games. We streamed that, an all-day thing, and the biggest turnout, I think at one point we had 60 plus people registered, and I think it dwindled down a little bit the day of, but like I was so sad that I couldn't be there, but seeing, time stamping the video and watching all of the people there supporting that store and having a great time, just loving this game, it was such a bummer to miss, but so great to see. And it couldn't have happened at a better place, and I'm just super bummed about it, but life happens. So
yeah, but the good news is they'll be still in the community. They'll still come out and be active members of the playing community.
Yes,
sure.
But yes, we wish them the best of luck.
It actually probably just got harder now, and like all these set champions and stuff. It used to be only Andy or Kristen could make it to one of the set champs, but now both of them are going to be there. So you guys.
But I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but Kristen is running something very, very spicy, and I want to see. I want to see how successful she is with it. I'm rooting for her because it is spicy.
It's good.
Yeah. But like I said, we wish the best of luck with them. So our next item here is our collaboration with Lorcana Heat with the Chippendale Tag Team Classic. So the final was this past Monday, I believe. And the top 2 contenders there were Lorgains and our own Rules of Villainy, villainous Kirsten. And unfortunately, the Lorgains took it away from our, but hey, we had somebody at the top table make it all the way up. So give a great round of applause here for villainous Kirsten, and also a great round of applause to Lorgains for doing such a wonderful job there. And also to the Lorcana Heat team there, the road to Questlmania. It's going to be a whole series of collaboration and events that they're going to do. So please make sure you check them out for further announcements. And we hope to be a part of those. And we'll link them down in the description below. So I keep just giving Brad more things to add to our description.
Sure. I think I've already been signed on to cast several of these upcoming events, and so like nice. I feel like being like a wrestling caster now and a podcaster, I'm like a regular Joe Rogan over here, right? Like I'm gonna start shaving the head and hunting elk out in the wilderness.
I don't know. I think I might have to. Abstract myself from this podcast now.
Like, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Abstract. What does that? What does that mean?
Myself.
Jamie, Google that real quick. What does abstract mean?
So, well, we're going to move right along there, and we're going to move on to our next piece of news about these One for All stream that we did this past weekend. Andy?
Yes, it was so much fun. We were invited out to One for All games in Peoria, Illinois. Kirsten and I and teammate Reckless all road tripped up there bright and early in the morning. We set up the stream. Brad met us there. Vince overslept and joined us remotely. We set up all the streaming gear. They have an amazing space there. They've got like a whole store with a playing area, and then a whole nother store that is just all playing area, and it was honestly like the cushiest stream room I've seen. We had some nice chairs and a lot of space, and so it was great. We had some struggles at the beginning with the wireless, but we got it in check. We made it work out. I had a ton of fun. The VOD's up. You guys can watch it.
Brad was there too, right?
Yeah. I played terribly, but I was having fun. I wasn't prepared for it at all. I was just happy to be there. It was more like Kirsten found this opportunity through Jordan, the owner of the store. Very, very cool guy. He was posting on the socials, and Kirsten saw it on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, check this out. You guys want to do this?" And I was like, "Better yet, you guys want to cast this? Let's talk to the guy and see how, what he thinks about it." And he was very accommodating, very, very cool to let us do that. And Andy got everything working. I was worried with him at first when he was talking about the wireless, and especially bringing you in remotely. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if we got the bandwidth for it, but it by some miracle everything worked out because Andy is a freaking maestro, man. And
it was a little rough at first, but it did work out all in the end. Yes. I'm glad that it did.
And they're gonna do this again. They already, I believe, put on the Melee in the form that this is the quarterly 1K event. And there's already been rumors about potentially upping it to 2K or even more. And really, the surprise of the whole thing, maybe the people knew going in, and I just, was too busy focusing on setting up the stream and stuff. But first and second place, they had custom playmats, which were amazing. So
I don't know if it's going to be too difficult, but can you put that playmat here right now so our viewers can see if they're on, on the YouTube?
Unfortunately, I can also say I did timestamp that whole video, and there's a specific timestamp where you can see the playmat toward the end. Yeah. So he put it up on the screen during the final match, or right before the final match started, and I was like, I didn't know about it because I was driving home as the final match was happening, and as I came home and timestamped everything, I saw that and I was like, oh my god, they had playmats! It was
awesome.
Sick.
It was really
they
cool.
were.
So we got to find out who that artist is and maybe collab with them and get our own custom playmats for some Rules of Villainy events as well, because that was really, really cool. All the players decided to split in the top 4, decided to split the cash prizing, which was great. They all walked away with a good amount of money, and but then they were like, several of them were like, no, I want to play for this playmat. Like we're not going home. You can get your money guaranteed, but I'm playing for that playmat, and it was awesome.
They played all the way to the top tables. Yep. As I had said in that video, I just want to note to Ravensburger, this is why 2 playmats matter. Okay, so I'm just saying. Yeah. I know they're listening. I know they watch us.
Well,
and I know they're taking notes.
Even if there was one playmat, I would still be inclined to play for it, right? Like when you get to the top 2, then they were just the same ones. One that says champion and one doesn't. So it's the same predicament the set championships were already in. Just to play devil's advocate here.
Still,
I feel like
I'm just saying that.
I said that during the stream, and Vince forgot it then apparently, and now as well. But
what's that? What Brad had said?
One playmat.
No, but my point is that because they had these playmats in the top 8, though, people played out to the top, and so I think
for the playmat. For both playmats.
I'm just saying 2 playmats are the correct answer.
Yes,
Okay.
2 playmats is the
Stop trying
correct number.
Stop
This
trying to
doesn't-
allow Ravensburger a weasel way out of this. Okay. No, you don't have it. It's the unanimous opinion of the rules of villainy that we need 2 playmats. Give us
Correct.
our other playmat back.
Correct.
Now. Thank you.
We still agree that this was a good example of why we need to.
No.
We have
We don't
better
know.
examples.
Stop. We're winning. See, we're already winning. We don't need to backtrack.
I think we need to reevaluate your definition of the word unanimous. But
Anyway, I would also like to shout out.
It is unanimous. Thank you very much.
I would also shout out friend of the podcast and fellow content creator Illumineer of Fortune, aka Alex, who was on stream a couple times, played one of the spiciest decks I've seen in a while, which is really, if you know them, that's kind of par for the course. Incredibly good player. They went back and made a video of their 2 matches that got streamed, talked all about the deck that they played. And I know we have a lot of viewers and listeners out there who really enjoy the spicier decks. Brad, the mayor himself, is a man of the cards, if you will. He, and Alex, Illumineer Fortune, kind of prides themselves on this, trying to find good competitive decks that use cards that are underutilized, that are still really good. And I think they do a great job of it. So definitely go check them out. We'll have them linked in the description as well. And yeah. Great stream. Can't wait to do it again.
I just want to say something here for our listeners, just to give you a little peek behind the podcast curtain, which is that this Underworld news segment was supposed to go by quick. We were supposed to list off each of the news items.
We're going to spend a lot of time in Constituents Corner.
And 25 minutes later, we're now getting to Constituents Corner. Before I kick it over to you, the mayor, though, that I just want to say is, so we are not doing Quest or Challenge this week because we want to devote some time to talk about the world's news, which we'll have in the questions here. So I'm going to kick it away to the mayor.
Yep. When this is Constituents Corner, our first question comes to us from Martin Karp. Haven't heard from him in a while. Thank you for writing in. And it is very much a Worlds question. It is, with the news that Worlds is locked to competitors only, how do you feel? And I feel like this is going to be a lengthy answer for all of us, because it is kind of a kick in the gut, with, Go ahead, Andy. I know it's affected you the most, and I'm trying to see the positive in it, but it's I don't know. I'm not prepared to answer it. But I'd rather bounce off of you guys. it sucks. But
what would you like? Would you like my answer, or would you like the answer that's going to get cut out of the podcast for too many Mickey Mouses? All right. I just it kind of just I'm having trouble voicing it as well.
Right? It's one of
ultimately what happened is at D23 last year, they said that they talked about how Worlds would be this big event with attendees. There would be other ways other than the competitors to be able to get this special whole new world card. They talked a lot about this quest. They talked about how there's quest and challenge in the game. So we have the DLCs, the Disney Lorcana Challenge, and they also want the Disney Lorcana Quest, where it involves going to the park. That's where they announced the cards that you get signed by the Mickeys that were at the NA Continentals and stuff. And it was awesome. And I've basically, every single thing I've gone to plan has been like, I'd rather go to Worlds. Let's save for Worlds instead. And ultimately, for reasons we will probably learn soon at the event, the stream, whatever they call it, the next chapter, if you will, for reasons I'll sure find out. They couldn't have that dream come to fruition, and it is really disappointing. But it is what it is, and I just kind of have to think that, you know, perhaps it's not. You know, Ravensburger doesn't want to do this either. I'm sure, right? The way we're sad about this, they're probably sad about this as well. When I went back and watched their like panel from D23, the way they talked about this stuff was like, it seemed so cool, and I'm sure they wanted to do all of this just as much as we did as well. So it is what it is. But next Worlds, open to the public or not, Rules of Villainy will be there. I promise. Okay.
On a lighter note, we did get the Worlds date. Rules of Villainy did do their work, right?
Yes,
last week. Yeah,
we told Ravensburger we
last
needed
week
to know, and it was less than a day later that they announced the announcement to the announcement of the announcement that we were going to have an announcement soon.
That's another question that we'll have.
Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, I think they went back, like they must have been watching that segment of our video over and over again, and they were just kind of like, you know what? It's just not soon enough. So they were like, Worlds, we're just gonna rush that out there and you know, get that information.
I'm telling you, they listened to us.
Yeah.
Like from our first episode when we talked about Bucky, they were like, you know what? These guys have a good point. They eroded him. And then we talked about Worlds, and they were like,
Hiram was also a villain of the week.
Hiram was,
that was like, after he was banned, though.
Was Fortisphere a villain of the week?
No. Hiram was a villain of the week before he got banned.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, he wasn't.
He was banned on a Tuesday, and then we recorded the next day and made him the first villain of the like Hall of Fame villain of the week. Yeah,
but he was in our like best card.
Oh yeah, best card.
He was in our best card March Madness tournament.
Yeah,
correct. He made it to the finals against
he was
really, runner up to Be Prepared.
It was
March
really,
Madness. Sorry, please don't sue us. And
sorry,
March craziness.
The third month of the year madness.
Mouse
Madness. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. That's probably copyrighted by Disney.
Yeah, probably.
Please don't sue us, Disney.
yeah. TM as well. Honestly, I have to say, like, I'm a little surprised by your take, Andy, because you were so much feistier.
I'm really mad. Like, I mean, I have Disney gift cards that I've been buying to save up for a trip to Disney. Ultimately, I'll still get to go to Disney, and
those don't expire. I mean, you can just hold on to them. It just sucks you have to hold on to them a little bit longer, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do become less valuable over time as Disney raises their prices.
Yeah,
very true. Very true.
You know what? I will just say that, like Andy, I'm not happy either, right? Like, I think this is. I'm not really sure what went on. I think maybe less optimism that we're gonna get a full explanation for what's going on.
We'll get a
I hope
full
we do.
explanation. Sure,
we'll never get the full story, but hopefully we get something.
I hope we get it. I'm not like more pessimistic that we get an explanation really at all. But I hope we do. I think the fans and the community deserve it, because I know a lot of people were really eager to looking forward to Worlds. I know, for instance, like the thing that frustrates me the most about this is that, and obviously maybe there's more to this announcement. So maybe I can look, that there's more to this announcement and stuff. But, at least pair it with something, like we're gonna, Worlds is not going to be public, but we're going to send out promos so stores are encouraged to run their own event or something.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll get some of that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I'm.
If I jump in real quick, I want to reiterate, we're not supposed to know any of this until next Tuesday, right? So, like, the reason that's why I keep like trying to emphasize word of the night that like we just had a bunch of information. A bunch of information.
Google that for me, Jamie.
Yeah, and without any official explanation for any of it, right? So, in my mind, my optimism, perhaps naivety, I don't know if I even said that correct, naivete, that there will be, like, the fact that they announced that they got this big presentation coming up means, and all the silence that led up to that moment means that this is going to be something big. This isn't just going to be a social media post, a banning of a card, or something, pseudo big. This is going to be huge. That they had, especially with the announcement that Greg got online on Twitch today and talked about, that they have so much in store for us, and it just sucks that it got dropped on us this way, because that just opens the door for all this speculation and all this disappointment and everything that we're all rightfully feeling right now. When, if it was all, in my mind, hopefully, if it was all announced as it should have been on Tuesday, then it would be also delivered with an explanation why it had to come to this, to some degree. Never the full story, because we don't know what happens behind the scenes. We don't need to know the business side of a lot of it, but I like to think at this juncture that there is a reason why things have changed, and it's something that we can accept. But the way that it was leaked, the way that it was delivered to us, and then all the the hurt feelings that we got from it, just make it feel so much worse than what could have been a better delivery. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm repeating myself, but
yeah, I mean. My biggest pushback to all this, though, is like, we've been waiting for news like this for a very, very long time. And so, I guess my point of this all is like, I'm willing to look past a lot. We've spent a lot of time kind of defending Ravensburger and like the fact that they've listened to the community, they've made changes and stuff in direct relationship to that feedback. And we've been moving in a really good direction. But I think the thing that still just remains lacking from Ravensburger altogether is better communication. Although kudos to them for Greg coming out. It does seem like they're maybe moving in a better direction there. They are doing a lot of hiring, we know, behind the scenes. And so kudos there. So hopefully, but I just think like the thing is like they kind of box themselves in here, by waiting so long that anybody who's going to seize on that leak for the Worlds. And the way to kind of avoid that was just to let folks know much earlier and stuff. It's like, we just were at the end of April here. People will be listening to this in early May. And like, I just, and people are even more on edge because we know information's coming out because of the announcement of the Lorecast, right? Or the next chapter, whatever they want to call it. And I don't know. Like, I think, maybe they were trying to put together something better for us for Worlds, and it just didn't work out. But, I think a lot of people skipped on going to things like Continentals because they thought they could go to Worlds.
Yep.
And I mean, I did, and I regret
we all
making
do
that decision.
Because
I really wish I would have gone to Continentals, because I need, like, I probably wouldn't have played in the second chance event. Like, that's not what I wanted to do. Or they didn't call it the second. Did they? They called it
last chance
qualifier.
Yeah. Second chance is an ROV thing.
Yeah, that's right. Because we do have a trademark. Thank you.
TM.
Thank you. Is that? But they had a lot of side events. They had like cool events going on. It'd have been a really fun event to go to. And that's what I was looking forward to Worlds.
I just want to see all my friends from Seattle. Like, everybody, like, I had such a great time in Seattle. More fun talking and meeting everybody than I did playing the game. I enjoy playing the game. I don't want to express, make that sound like it was not a good time. I did fine. I didn't advance or anything. I enjoy playing the game, but it was our first time there as a podcast, and we met so many people, and we had just great interactions with literally everybody. And Seattle, like, I'm always going to cherish all of the connections and friends that I made there. And then so Continentals was like, let's do it again. Worlds, let's do it again. And we missed Continentals, and now we can't do it again at Worlds. And and with nothing else planned currently as we're talking, but who knows what's coming next, that I don't know when I get to see everybody again. And it's just, me being the social butterfly that I am, that's what I'm missing the most. I can play the game here. I don't need to go anywhere to do that.
Well, we know for a fact, though, like, at the very least, like, it's gonna be over a year before, like, from the first DLC before there's even going to be another round of DLCs, right? Because this is going to happen at the end of June. And by this time last year, we had already had 2 DLCs. We had Atlanta and Chicago, not including what's happened in Europe as well, and so obviously there'll be probably some break. The earliest we're probably going to get, I would guess we're going to get DLCs is going to be like late summer.
Okay. Here we go. Lurkana conspiracy theory. The next DLC will be June 28th and 29th. And that is why Worlds is closed to the public, because instead, DLC Orlando, baby. They're having a DLC at a slightly different location. You can't go to Worlds. You can't go mess with those 28 competitors, but you could be doing your own DLC in another building down the road. It's a conspiracy theory, Brad. No questions.
It is.
No questions. No further questions.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to want folks to watch.
Yes,
to watch Worlds. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think is just tangent, or I guess it's kind of related. I do think with a non-public event like that, I think they will. Again, this is probably not what they wanted, but I think they're definitely going to realize that the reason they wanted everyone there is because I think the event's just not really going to hit as hard with no one there. How many, the all the Instagram posts and the Twitter posts of all the people there. Kirsten brought up a really good point. The energy from Luke's teammates when he won in Seattle was insane. I mean, they had to mute the casters because you could hear in the background people chanting and cheering for Luke and stuff. So it's you're not going to get that similar experience. But it is what it is. We'll find out more when we see their cast or whatever it is. But one thing I am really, really excited for is, did you see all of that equipment in the new podcast room, video cast room they got?
Oh yeah,
Ravensburger.
Yeah,
they've got you think the Rodecaster video switcher thing is cool. They got the super pro version of that. It's got a bunch of antennas coming out of the side. It's got 20 HDMI cables plugged into it. They got a whole screen and everything. Man, they got a legit setup there. That was the thing I took away from that video.
I really well, except for the fact that he was muted for the first.
Okay, they don't know how to use the setup, but they got a nice setup there.
Listen, I'm just saying here, okay, that's not a critique. I don't know if you all remember our first live streams where this guy pointing to me was like, do we need right audio? Do you need to hear the radio?
One single track audio. Hey, look, how long has this been going on? This is episode 43. We've been doing this for 43 weeks. All right. So Ravensburger, if you need someone for your production team to push the buttons on that thing, I'm looking at it in the screenshot right now next to Greg over there.
This guy can do it. I know how to run those now because I tell you what, I have it. I'm running a Rode Streamer X. I have the Rode dashboard.
Your audio cut out, Vince. We can't hear you. What happened? What you cut out there as you said you were something about you knew what you were doing. Sorry.
Stop. I don't want to. I don't. You're just.
That's the funny voice button, Vince.
No, don't do it.
No.
Okay, don't do it.
I won't do it.
I'm gonna do
but,
of course. All right. Next question.
Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah, let's go with that. We already kind of touched on, or at least I did. Ali Oltran asked, as a content creator, how do you feel about quote unquote announcement of an announcement? As a player, it feels like they press pause on my hobby curiosity for some time. I feel like I know we joke about it, and I understand the the criticisms of doing that for minor things. In this specific instance, we hadn't heard from Ravensburger in such a long time, and as I said just previously, I like to believe that they were building up. They made so many changes. They made that studio. They're building the Play Network that we know about. They're getting just changing all kinds of stuff. So there's so many things happening behind the scene that they've been really quiet. But when they made this announcement saying that the next chapter is coming and they had all this cool stuff, and especially followed up by the surprise Twitch stream from Greg today and his, him describing the event and everything they have in place for it, really makes me think it's worth letting everybody know, maybe not a week ahead of time, because it opens the door for leaks that we had today, but let people know ahead of time, hey, if you want to make like an hour or two of your time and dedicate this upcoming day, we got some really cool stuff we're going to share with you. We're going to make it worth your while. So I think in this particular instance, that was totally fine. I would have maybe announced it on Friday or over the weekend or something, given the circumstances that we're in now. But an announcement for something huge that they're about to unveil, I'm totally on board with that. As long as it's not wasted, as long as I don't feel like I wasted my time watching that event.
Jumping in, I will just say, I actually think them announcing it a week before was fine. Like think, in fact, if anything, I think it probably mitigates some of the leaks because. Well, I say that because
not this time.
well, no,
I don't know.
Say that because, like, given where we think potentially maybe the leaks came from, which we don't know who, but where they have been posted and stuff, they were some other thing going on. And I think like having this announcement ahead of time made it easier for them to do a quick announcement and be like, you're going to hear more information, which you already know you're going to hear in like a few days, versus them making it feel like it, because say the leaks had happened, right? And they came on to do the world thing. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to do the next chapter announcement. It would feel like they were being very reactive to the, leaks coming out. And it feels like, this just got ahead of them on some of these issues, but they were planning already to talk about these and stuff. The thing I don't like is the announcements of announcements of announcements. Like, what I don't love is when we dedicate time and we have like a lore cast and it's like more information coming at a later date, right? And stuff. It's like, I honestly don't want to know about other things if you're not gonna like have more flushed out information.
There's always going to be more to come, though. I mean, there's always on the next episode of ...
Sure, I'm fine with that, but I just like, it does feel like a very much like they get into the habit of like, and stay tuned for more information on this like little cool thing we told you and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, like I want to know more about that now cool thing, that shiny object you got, when you could have just not told me about it. And when you had more information to tell me about it, you could then tell me about it and stuff. It's like, I don't need to know every single detail, but like a lot of times it does feel like they kind of throw in these like little tidbits and stuff. And you're like, okay, well, I want to know more about that. And then that's where the focus of the community tends to be, right? And stuff. We don't necessarily pay attention to all the great stuff we got. We pay attention to the stuff we didn't get, right? And that becomes the emphasis. And I think, that's just human nature, and that's just how the community operates, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the way I think we could avoid some of that is if they were a little bit more clear. And I think the other thing that may help that out is if it felt like we were getting, which I hope does seem like we're going in the right direction, as Brad said, these great studios, is we have more regular cadence of announcements from Ravensburger. It does feel very much like ad hoc-y.
And Greg alluded to that today too. He's like, this is a new studio. Here's all the stuff. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this. So it leads me to believe that this is going to become a regular thing. I think we saw in our local Discord or the ROV Discord, even somebody talking about how Magic or other card games would have like every certain amount of weeks would do some kind of online update as to what's coming or what's going on in the world of this, whatever. And maybe that's something that they are working toward. I just don't know, but I'd like to be hopeful that they,
I want more stuff for Underground News. Okay. That's what I'm here
for. You mean Underworld News?
Underworld News. Yeah. We can't even get the name right. It's our most cuttable segment. We should just stop doing it. And Vince should make a different video called Underworld News, and he can Tell all
Underground
the
news.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to Underworld News. I'm your
All
host,
right. Okay. We're
Vince.
but
Yeah,
any
think
other
an
thoughts,
F1.
Andy?
yeah, I just think like the problem is they waited too long. We are in this sort of rebuilding stage, but ultimately, this is a growing thing. It got really popular really fast. Ravensburger clearly is doing a really good job at, staffing up, preparing for this stuff. As your game grows, you do need regular communication. That's why you build a studio. That's why you have, and then Brad, you guys are right. It's, weekly communication, monthly communication, whatever, the status of the game, all this stuff. But we're all just sort of building on all of this. So I don't know.
I was distracted by Brad's case behind him. I've never seen that.
Oh, it's brand new. I was surprised you didn't say anything sooner. But,
Oh.
yeah.
They took too long
nice.
to tell us that, ultimately. I think
I agree.
we were all just wanted to know something. And when they finally were like, oh, it'll be a week from now, you're just like, oh, come on.
But it was something, it's something to look forward to.
Yes.
And then little did we
I'm
know
excited.
2 days later, it would, that excitement would be shifted because it's like, some bad apple decided to just dump it all anyway. So,
all right, next
I
question.
don't know. Yeah, getting away from all of that, we do have a question from John asking, how long until Lorcana starts making collector's boosters like other card games?
A while, but I hope they do it sooner. For those of you
I
who
think
don't
it'd be
know,
fun.
collector's boosters are basically boosters where it's like all good cards, like all foils and like alternate arts and like, different rarity of cards. Other card games have like, different full arts and different illustrations and different foiling types and different textures and stuff. And, they Magic the Gathering does a really cool thing where they basically split it into 2 booster packs. You can buy booster packs for cards to play the game, which are cheaper, have more cards and stuff in them, or you can buy collector boosters, which are for collecting. They've got a bunch of the shiny fancy cards in them. And honestly, it seems like a great idea. That'd be cool. I'd love to be able to buy more. It's
I think it's actually coming sooner than you think.
maybe.
Because I tell you what, another card game, Star Wars Unlimited, does this with they have their I think they call them hyperspace boosters or something, but they are much more expensive, and you're guaranteed a certain percentage of rare and cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
those cards are cool and not Star Wars. Then that'd be a really awesome idea. What do you think, Brad? You buy some collector boosters, or are you gonna?
I would.
Wow, just skip it right over that.
I would 100% buy collector boosters for
Let's
Disney.
go. We're all
for
addicted.
sure. Yeah, the issue, as you mentioned with Magic, was that they have that Final Fantasy set coming up, and I was like, I want all the shiny Final Fantasy cards. Like, sign me up. Like, there's been so many things like Fallout and Lord of the Rings, all these things that I purposefully avoided because I was like, I can't get into it. I can't get into buying another card game. But now Final Fantasy is coming up. I did not pre-order because the prices are outrageous.
You know
and Final Fantasy is such a huge property.
Is? One collector
not
booster
at the moment.
$30. They're expensive.
Yeah, and I was gonna order a case or whatever of them like a month ago, and it was like $500 for or maybe a box. I don't remember what it was. I don't know the prices of that game.
They're expensive.
But I was talking to Dylan at game night when I was hosting the league for Lorcana, and I was like, walk me through this because I'm interested in it because of the property, and I want to know how to invest in the thing. And he's like, here's this tier, this tier, this tier, yada yada yada. And we have Ryan, our teammate Ryan Hines, or from the Laws of Heroism podcast, I should say, talking to me about the investment portion of that game, and that's probably what you want to do. But if I'm buying those cards, I want to open them. That's I've grew up on that game, on Final Fantasy, and want the shiny cards. But then when I saw the prices and what the going rate was, the inflated rate because of all the interest in it, even I was like, I can't do it. I literally can't do it.
It's hilarious too. This Final Fantasy is its own card game that I guess is still a thing, but
is it? I thought Final Fantasy does it still exist as a card game?
I don't know.
think
I
so.
thought it was one of those fringe ones like Digimon or WoW TCG or
I feel like you're definitely probably nobody that listens to us, but offending somebody.
yeah. I mean, like there's a bunch of the hey, we're first time TCG players. I don't know any of these other TCGs other than like I see them, but they're like very very small and or don't exist anymore. There's a Neopets TCG, I believe. That's a game. There's a lot of them, and I've heard good things about some of these games. Like they were fun, or they're great, or like there's still a couple people that play them and stuff. And but I think the TCG graveyard is actually like overflowing.
Huge.
Yes, I
Huge.
believe there's a lot
Yeah.
of them that have come and gone.
So, I mean, honestly, when I got into Lorcana, most of the people I would talk to that were big TCG folks would be like, that game will be dead in X year or whatever and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, we'll see. I'm gonna still play
Nothing can
I
stop
don't
me
think
now.
so. Yeah.
it. I was like,
Um,
I think Disney's a pretty big property.
they won't let it die. Like it will be on the community to stop entirely playing it and collecting it to make that happen, because I think there's too much here for it to go away anytime soon. And I think like I'm here for it. I want all the shiny cards. Give me collector's boosters. Yes, I will buy them.
Yep.
So next question.
Next question. It's going to lead into our main segment too, but from Jake, he asked, who's on baby watch, by the way. So congratulations. Maybe if baby Evans is born by then, by the time this comes out, have you guys settled on decks to play for set champs? What are your meta predictions for what will have a good showing? Is there anything currently going around that you think is just hype and won't do very well?
I'll tell you what's hype. It starts with J and ends with afar. It's Jafar. All right. I think I can't tell if some of the people are just trolling me or if some of them are just trying to have some fun. Brad included on some of these people that like, so Zan obviously did his thing with Jafar, but now I'm like in Discord, I'm in Facebook, I'm looking around and people are like, guys, have you tried Jafar in Emerald? And then we put like the Ursula in there, and then we like double sing friends, or we like double sing second star of the right with like a bunch of other characters. That's crazy, right? And then I'm like,
But he's tried that.
kind of greedy, right? And then like, guys, have you tried putting Jafar in Blurple, where there's like no additional card draw whatsoever from Sapphire because Hiram was the only one, and it got completely gutted and banned out of the format?
You don't need it. You don't need Hiram in that deck.
So like,
homie, I played that deck on Monday. It is insane.
No, it's insanely bad.
Just draw.
Brad. It's insanely Brad. It's insanely Brad is what it is. Right?
Insanely
I gotta give props to Ready Set Inc. because they posted over the weekend that they built a Blurple Jafar after Zan's win the weekend before. And speaking of that that Amethyst Steel Zan deck, I've been playing a version of that since the set drop. Frank Karsten put that in his early set thing. He had some Mickey shenanigans in it with the legendary Mickey and all this stuff and a lot of one-ofs. But I found a lot of...
I'm going to be as contentious as I can be, and I'm going to say that deck was as jank then as it is now.
Yes.
Oh, this is a Frank Karsten deck, and it is good.
Okay, we're talking about Blurple Jafar here. Let's not. And then I want to.
Okay.
You said.
Okay, let's go back to Blurple Jafar.
From Ready Set Inc. Is that not the YouTube channel that posted a video a couple days ago of them eating Ritz crackers while talking about their Emerald Steel deck? I don't know. I didn't see that video. They have the most hilarious.
They also did
meme videos. Their primary objective for winning a game of Lorcana is to eat their opponent's cards. Okay, so you can't tell me that you like net decked Ready Set Inc. and you're like, I'm gonna take it to the set champs, guys. Here's
my thing is like, yes. My view on this is like Zan can play that deck and you could probably give him a bad deck and he'll do good with it. You can give Frank Karsten a bad deck and he'll do well with it. But that does not mean it is a good deck or a good card.
And we're not even talking about a good deck. We're talking about taking one card, arguably minor component of a arguably good deck, and then shoving it in a different deck where it doesn't belong. I'm being like, look, guys, I'm playing Jafar, but I'm not Zan, and I'm not meta, and I'm different, and I eat my opponent's card.
All the time about the draw power of Amethyst, where this Jafar resides, and then you ramp up with the Sapphire to get him out there earlier, and then whatever mid-range cards you want to get out there at the same time. He's just getting lore for drawing. You don't even have to. Well, you have to have him exerted, but you don't even have to quest with him. At one time, I quested with the two Lord Jafar, shifted the evasive Jafar on top of that, then started drawing. It's the whole point is to use the draw power of the Amethyst deck, and I got down to one card in my deck when I beat Ryan on Monday with it.
That's
it was
not good.
So much fun.
So what is Blurple's problem in primarily? It's removal, right? It doesn't have enough removal.
It's mass removal.
Blurple has been easily able to win the game instantaneously when it would play things like aerial or items or dime or any of that stuff. It can win the game.
It doesn't play any of those.
It has in the past and could very easily win the game instantly with those cards, but it doesn't. And so now you're saying bring Jafar into the picture, and now you're handicapping your deck with cards like the smaller Jafars in order to bring him out there. When
I told you at the beginning of the set, I'm moving away from Blurple because they're not necessarily moving away, but like I played so much of the bounce package Blurple and the ramp up to Hades and Elsa and all this stuff. It is very good. I love that deck.
Good at it.
But why not
spice champs with it?
Why not spice it up with a different version? There's so many different versions.
Why?
This entire set, the dual ink, they made an entire like identity. Am I saying that right? Identity of like Blurple being a frozen deck with the Elsa Anna Sven package and all this stuff, and nobody's even using it, but you could in some regards because like
cards too and dual.
Yeah.
Not all of them are winners.
I'm just saying, man.
If you have fun with the deck, I'm all good for it. But but fun doesn't equal good deck.
I'm begging.
I'm just saying. Ready, Set, Ink went 15-3 with it, and I
3.
I know it's not a great argument, but like it seemed like pretty cool.
With his deck. All right, come to me when you got
as soon as I said that, I knew that reference was coming.
Look,
all right,
it's fun, and I'm enjoying it.
Blurple has always been at the kids' table for so many sets. Okay. Now it is.
I want to rewind though to get back to the question here. So have you any of you settled on a deck? Have you settled on a deck?
I've settled on 2. Yes.
Okay.
2. You can't play 2 decks.
No, Andy. Question.
You can't double hand.
Have you settled on a deck?
I just want to point out Brad's answer was no. He hasn't settled on a deck. If he has 2, the answer is no.
It depends. I can't play my main deck at game night on Saturday because it's 2-game format. So I'm saving it for Grapes on Sunday, which is 3-game.
Understandable. I settled on a deck, 1 for 2-game, 1 for 3.
But I don't even want to hear this coming from the guy who will probably play a different deck at every single.
I will. I haven't settled on a deck. Of course not. I will be leaving my deck probably at the event on game night when I show up.
And I don't even play Lorcana, so no, I don't. Exactly. I haven't played on a deck.
Meta predictions. I think it's going to be a lot of what we expect to see in St. Louis area. If you've played in several set champs in the past here, you'll know what to expect. Good bit of aggro. A lot of people going to be on some of their favorite decks because really now everything is viable. There is so much optionality.
There is. And do you know what? I want to give a shout out though to say that if you want to know what the locals are going to play, watch the Mayor's Meta Report.
Thank you. I was going to plug that.
Yes, good one.
Yeah, no, it's great. Every week for the last several weeks, I've been just going through the top decks that are topping the locals. And you've probably, if you listen regularly, you've heard me talk about it. But this week especially, I have a huge variety in there already, and there's still two or three more nights of competitive play that I'm going to reach out and try to get those decks in that list, so you can just get an idea of what people are playing and what you might be running into.
Yeah, I'm going to play something really spicy and win tomorrow. It's going to be Water Has Memory Control. So
okay,
yeah. All right.
Good luck.
Well, let's move on to the main segment here. You want to outro us here?
Yeah, if you'd like your questions answered by the villains in the future, please be sure to comment on this video, our socials, or join us on Discord, where you can comment in the Constituents Corner channel. Take it away, Vince.
All right, so our main segment is actually just basically a continuation of this question. Of this. We've talked a lot about this with Zan's Jafar wheel. Anything we want to add there?
Well, first off, I think we have to, if we're talking about meta and going into sets, we have to talk about Jafar's, Zan's Jafar wheel. Jafar's Zan wheel. So if you didn't see it, Zan went to, was it 2K, 5K? It ended up being a crazy event. He got a PSA 10 Elsa as part of the prize, and played Jafar wheel and absolutely stomped the competition there. Went undefeated all the way through and swept the whole thing. And I believe they're releasing a guide on their Metafy for free on it. Jafar prices like skyrocketed, and like it's the most popular card on Dreamborn. And I said it before, I do think it's a little bit of hype. I really, really don't think you should just be taking Jafar and like playing it somewhere else. It is a masterclass in like meta breaking, like meta call. It reminds me of the Atlanta DLC winner. Said Josh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In that, like, they basically saw all of the decks that were expected to be there, and they built something that just like does really good into all of them. And that's exactly what Zan built. Unfortunately, the day after, probably hours after Zan was playing Jafar wheel, every single person knew to just like remove your Jafar off the board immediately. And so like now you get backed into this corner of just like the only way you can actually make the Jafar wheel work is to like play Jafar and Pete at the same time, or like set up these combos. But in the meantime, you have to also keep your opponent off of their winning combos. And your Amethyst Steel cards are good, but you've sacrificed a lot of them for, well, Jafars. And so it's like, it's a really hard deck to play. It reminds me a lot of the Bird, the Emerald Steel Bird version. I think you will see quite a bit of it. I wouldn't be too afraid of it. I think the answer is really just remove the Jafars, stop them from being able to do that, and they'll probably crash dive themselves.
And I would just to add to this that it's actually a pretty challenging deck to play.
Yeah,
effectively.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's. I think that's actually where this deck goes wrong a little bit in the sense is like it. And I agree with Andy that I think this Jafar is a bit of a gimmick, and the reason why it works is because a player like Zan is actually like he's one of the best players of Lorcana, and I mean just in TCGs in general. And the average person you're going to go to in your locals just isn't at that level of play. And we're not at that level of play, even though we are working our way to get there.
Oh, speak for yourself, Vince. Whoa.
All right, Andy.
Dan and I are buddies. We're like best friends. I'm gonna throw the picture up.
He has our sticker on the back of his boogie board. I saw him put it there in Seattle.
But is just that like I think you can temper your expectations. Like with what Andy says, that don't be scared of this deck. And like you said, getting rid of that Jafar, I think is going to be the key component of this deck. Also, if they have any shift targets for this. Also one is I think that just makes that deck a little weaker.
Yep.
Anyway,
and they're easy to remove,
and they're easy, and you're going to remove them pretty easily too. And it's expensive card in that deck. So when you talk like Andy talks about this combo of like a Jafar plus a Pete, that's 10 ink.
Or little Jafar and a Pete, so that the little Jafar survives, and then you play the big Jafar or whatever. But it's
that's still
he shifts for 5. So
there's a lot of answers to it. The thing is that no one had any of those answers in their deck when Zan played this at this 2K event or whatever, and it was an incredibly awesome meta read. What I think it does say is that there are cards out there, some of the more like ones that come to your mind are cards like Grandpappy or Grammatala. I know that's one of Brad's favorites. These cards that have incredible reach and just kind of close out a game. As you're playing your deck and you're the Blurple king over here, you're playing all your Blurple, you just kind of think like, what would my deck look like if I could just, throw a Grammatala in here, Would that actually not be a bad option, right? Like maybe I have weak, 2-drops or whatever. And obviously that's not true for Blurple and stuff, but like maybe I have a weak spot in this, in the build, and I have plenty of room for these other cards. And maybe those other cards, I mean, the smaller Jafars aren't bad, right? I mean, the purple one kind of is, but most of the purple ones are. But the 2 steel ones, 2/3 evasive on your turn, or is it 3/2 evasive on your turn? It's one or the other. I think it's 3/2 because it gets removed really easy
3/2.
by Storm.
Yep.
3/2 evasive on your turn, and the other one's 3/2 +2 strength on ETB. So, very nice cards. Like they don't hurt too much, but there are definitely better cards out there. So, stop playing Jafar in other colors, please.
Yeah, the whole allure of him, the Jafar wheel, is getting that 7 lure. That's 7 lure. 7 lore.
7 lure. All
Because I mean, very few opportunities do you get besides Tamatoa and I guess Magicka, if you're brave enough, to get 7 lore. If they don't remove it at one time, and if you don't remove that Jafar and you wheel into another one, it's like that's 2/3 of what you need in 2 turns if he survives that. You're right. So the late game especially where it's the most dangerous, where you can sing if you get him out there and sing Whole New World, and then you have enough ink to hard cast it. That's 14 lore. You're probably closing the game at that point.
Yep.
And that's where the biggest the biggest swing is. And what Vince said, it is very hard to navigate. I haven't played Zan's list of it specifically, but I know the list that I've been playing, there's been several times where I'm in this predicament of where like I've lost the element of surprise. They now know it's a Jafar wheel, and I have to navigate this very carefully because I know that they're looking for that, right? And there's other alternatives in there where I was running, like I said, the Karsten deck where the legendary Mickey's in there, and his biggest power, what I've been telling people on Twitter this past week, is not so much what he brings out if he does get that, it's the threat of what he could bring out. And people focus on, I know Chip, our local friend and listener who comes out to game night, he plays what?
You say legendary Mickey?
Yeah, the new legendary Mickey, the 1/1 that brings out a free character when he yeah.
Oh.
So anytime I got that Mickey out there, the first time that he played against my Jafar wheel, he was like, I don't like that. And the entire time he was, tunnel visioned on that Mickey as to what it could do. So I mean, there are tools in the Karsten version of the early set deck that's probably changed now. I'm sure it could be optimized a lot better. But there are tools in there that really bring their focus off of Jafar because they're worried about other things that could happen as well. I had Big Tink in there, I had Big Robin, all these threats that closed out the game. Even the giant Cobra especially in the Amethyst Steel one, you can only play that card in there. There's nothing you can do to stop that besides having an empty hand. It's difficult to navigate. I agree with Vince, but at the same time, it is also very satisfying to pull it off, and you only having to do it twice because you're probably questing a few times outside of the Jafar wheel. So it's I don't know. It's fun.
It's a hard combo to pull off because it has a lot of room for interactability. Being a character, dime combo is usually a little easier because items are harder to interact with. One thing, what I think really makes Jafar what it is, and what makes a lot of these other cards, like potentially the Mickey or something, is something that Alex, Illuminator Fortune, brought up in one of their videos. It really messes with your opponent's threat assessment. They essentially, when you play these non-standard cards, and it doesn't have to be like this crazy, jank mayor deck or anything like that. No, just kidding. It doesn't have to be this crazy deck, though. It really is just a matter of taking a deck that is, 90%, 100% good. It's a good deck, and then just like finding room for. Kirsten played Amethyst Steel on at the One for All Games tournament. She played against another Amethyst Steel, but they had the Tinkerbell package, the Surfer Tink and the Shift Tink. So the purple 1/3 evasive, and then the Shift Tinkerbell.
Was this the fairies in the hood deck?
No, that was Alex. That was Alex, the Luminaire Fortune. That's his deck, the fairies in the hood.
Yeah.
But she played against one that just had that package. Otherwise, it was very regular and normal. And I think that threw her for a loop as well. It gives you these advantages that just playing a very, very standard list doesn't have. But in Alex's list, he talked about how like the Sticky Mickey and the Robin Hood, 9 times out of 10, they're taking out the Robin Hood before the Mickey. They're going to be very focused on trying to remove that Robin Hood. But the Mickey is just as much, if not more, of a threat, depending on the other cards that are in your hand. And he also pointed out there was a turn where he exerted the Mickey, and they swung in with a fox into the Mickey or something into the... maybe it wasn't a fox, but they swung in for 4 damage on this 3/4 Mickey. The shift Mickey,
which has
resist 1, exactly. Kirsten did it to me too on Deck Test Tuesday, and I said no, it dies. She was like, "We're testing. You can't let me take it back." And I was like, "Fine, you can take it back because we are testing." But like, I was like, that's like a key strategy of this deck, though, is that they don't know and they don't listen, and it's like, so I think one of the things that might help you find success in this current set champions, play a deck that you love. Ruby Amethyst, Emerald Amethyst, Amethyst Steel. If it has Amethyst, I say yes. But also other decks too are perfectly fine to play. Like Amethyst Amber is also really good. Amethyst Sapphire is also great.
You're just naming all of the Amethyst decks.
Yeah, just name every color combo. There's 5 of them. How about mono Amethyst?
Great this anyway,
I know. I mean, I think so. Other decks that I think are...
I was just saying, try and find like a small, you can add your own spice to it, and that'll maybe help you pull ahead in this set champs.
I will say, I do think we're also going to see a lot of Amber Steel in set champs.
Oh yeah, if Ruby Sapphire will still be played.
Yeah, One for All Games was any indicator. Amber Steel is right back up there. It's it was, I think, 3 or 4 of the top 8, and yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, did we have a whole breakdown of what that meta looked like?
Sure, pull that up for you.
Curious. Yeah, I have no idea what I've been playing, honestly. So I've been testing out Ruby Amethyst, an 84 card version of it.
Get out of here! No, it isn't.
No. It's 64 cards, and it's still 4 cards too many.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Apparently, the meta breakdown was 15% Ruby Amethyst aggro. Although I think that's named wrong. But it was Ruby Amethyst, then Ruby Sapphire, then Blurple, then Steel Song, then Amethyst Steel, then Emerald Steel, then more Steel Song, apparently Diggy. Oh, here's the ink combos.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Are you talking about One for All Games?
This is archetype. Yeah, for our One for All Games, that was the archetypes. But I guess ink combos is what I really wanted to look at. There was 8 Amber Steel, 8 Ruby Amethyst, 6 Blurple, 5 Ruby Sapphire, 5 Amethyst Steel, 4 Emerald Steel, 2 Emerald Amethyst, 1 Amber Amethyst, 1 Emerald Ruby. Brad, did you play against them?
Nope.
Emerald Ruby?
No.
Someone did, I thought.
It wasn't me.
It had the Robin.
I thought you were going to ask me if I played it. Yeah.
And then an Emerald Sapphire, nice, and 1 Sapphire Steel. How brave. I think we saw them on stream, actually, didn't we?
Yeah, that was...
I think we did.
Yeah, Aristocles.
Aristocles.
Yeah.
That was very brave of them. They did very well.
They did do fairly well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite an even split between the top. Honestly, like
all of them.
Yeah, I know. Honestly,
there were 4 Amber Steels in the top 8.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
conversion rate.
One ruby sapphire, one blurple, one ruby amethyst that won it all, and then
So
of course,
Amber Steel had the highest conversion
Amber
rate.
Steel had 50% of
Big
the top
time.
8. Yeah,
Dang.
and then
Whoa.
and then ninth place was Amber Steel as well.
To be fair, it was 2 Diggies and 2 Steel songs. So
Yeah. And I think at
So
the
that- I
time
mean,
that I
that's
left the
still though,
tournament,
right?
Amber
Like-
Steel was
Oh.
the top of Swiss too,
No, 3.
only undefeated.
3 Diggies and
Oh, and
one.
5.
yeah,
Oh,
that was
one steel song.
that was actually an interesting thing to mention, Brad, is that the top seed going into the last round, so I believe it was Michelle, won. She had the pair down the round before and had to play out their match, and the other 2, Alex and Ivan, ID'd. However, the following, Michelle was undefeated and got paired against it was either going to get paired against Ivan or Alex, and got paired against Ivan, and Ivan chose to play it out for seeding. And by winning that game, they overtook and became first seed and had the top seed, I believe, throughout the whole top cut, which is really interesting. Also, other fun fact, Fairies in the Hood from Illuminator of Fortune, spiciness rating on Inkdex, NA.
The highest.
NA.
Yeah.
Cannot compute. Doesn't work. Too spicy.
The only other one was in the top 32 was the Ruby Emerald damage deck. I'm Bringing Hydra Back by Austin was an NA too.
Yeah, very, very spicy. So,
I mean, what's really crazy to me is the top decks are actually, like, with the exception of the Amber decks, are actually, like, kind of affordable. Really, like, you look at the Ruby Amethyst deck, 152. The Fairies in the Hood.
Every Amber deck, $200 comes from Rapunzel.
But then you go to Amber, it's $418.
Yeah.
That Ruby Amethyst deck at $150 in the top spot, I'll have you know the price per card is insanely high, insanely low, because there are 80 cards. Sorry, not 80, 70 cards in that deck. It is an Vince list for sure. Sorry, 69. Sorry, the 69. Paper list had 70, and then they scribbled in. Nice. They scribbled
the most expensive card in that deck is a one of Sisu empowered sibling for $17.
Yep.
And
they saw every single one of those cards in every game they played on stream.
But I will just say to our listeners out there, it is unfortunately probably too late at this point for this weekend. But if you need cards for your deck for future set champions, it is partner.tcgplayer.com/ROV. And you know what? You can get the best deal. What?
Did
I get it wrong?
You forgot the
.com. You missed the .com.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me come in again. Partner.tcgplayer.com/ROV. And you will be helping out the podcast, and also getting some great cards, and helping out some local entrepreneurs and TCG stores with their.
Should I tell them it's a / Brad, instead of /?
Okay,
I always get those confused. Like I just say slash.
Browser
I don't
will
know
automatically fix it for you. I'm pretty sure. So like, it's not that big of a deal. I didn't know if I should let him know. It's like the Olaf in summer kind of deal. Should someone tell him?
I'll get it right one day. All right. Okay. But yeah. So, but it helps us out a little bit, and it doesn't cost you any to get the cards. So the little bit of percentage comes back to us to help make the
cards cost you money still.
The cards do cost.
It doesn't cost you any extra money when you use our
It doesn't cost you. Yeah, that's right.
And
that's
it doesn't cost the store any extra money either.
Yep.
That money.
You know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna stop talking now. You take it over, because clearly I'm getting this all wrong. It's all right.
We appreciate it. Link in the description below.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else we want to talk about in this main segment?
Did you guys say your decks? Andy said he's not set. Vince, do you have a deck you're set on?
Yeah, I said I'm testing Ruby Amethyst.
Ruby Amethyst, okay.
But I don't know. I'm indifferent about it. It doesn't It plays well, very well, I feel like, on the play, but on the draw, I feel
Sure.
less great.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it doesn't move fast enough is the problem. I'm struggling to find a way to keep its pace up against the more aggro, which there are a lot of aggro decks in the
Sure.
meta.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really confident with my Red Fossa. I don't know if I like it in the 2-game format, but this past weekend I almost took down the big 3. I'm going to talk about it more on the meta report. Even though I didn't 3-0, I'm going to close probably the video out with that because I know people are interested in what I am actually playing. I haven't been able to make my own meta report the past several weeks. But the I took down the Ruby Amethyst Evasive and then Steel Song, both really good players, and Chip and Tabitha. And then my third match was Red Blue. So I played the big 3, and the third one was Eddie that I took to game 3. And I think a misplay in game 3 really cost me think because of that dang Pirate's Life, man. I don't have an answer for the lore swing that Pirate's Life gives, especially with Shark on board. 2 Sharks on board, forget about it.
Forget about it.
It's absolutely insane. But I felt really good this past 3 days of playing with that deck. Just between the wherever Grapes and Green Knight and wherever else, it feels good. I just don't know how it holds up against some other spicy decks. But that's my answer in the long of it.
All right. Well, with that, let's get into Villain of the Week. Brad?
Me. All right. Apologies again to from
All
set
hail.
3 into the Inklands. Jafar, Striking Illusionist, 7-cost Inkable in Amethyst, Floodborn Villain Sorcerer. He is a legendary with 4 strength, 5 willpower, and quests for 1. He shifts for 5. He has evasive, and he has power beyond measure. During your turn, while this character is exerted, whenever you draw a card, gain 1 lore. Art by Nicola Saviori. And what can we say that we haven't already?
I know, that's what I was about to say.
I
It's going to
didn't,
be a short Villain of the Week segment.
Rewind. Just
I
like
didn't realize we were going to spend much time on him in the main segment when I threw him in here as Villain of the Week. His biggest, when he was released in, or revealed, I should say, in Into the Inklands, everybody's thought was Amethyst Steel, get this guy to sing Whole New World, 7 lore at a time. How can you stop it? It is broken. You got the singing mechanic, and then you got just getting lore off of it, off of every draw. So that's what the goal is. That's what Zan was so successful with. And I think that it is something you have to answer, or he's just any draw you get is just absolutely insane. You don't get the start of turn draw unless for some reason you found a way to keep him exerted or frozen.
Elsa.
To your next turn. Elsa or I'm Stuck, I think, was an option people joked about months
Elsa's
ago.
Ice Palace. Can you Elsa's Ice Palace your own Jafar and make him perma-stuck?
I don't know.
But then, like, put him... characters at this location cannot be challenged, right? That's Tiana's Palace or something like that.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
you Elsa's Ice Palace, your Jafar in Tiana's Palace, and then he's permanently... And then you just... Draw. Yeah, it's a gimmick. Anyway, I think
I will just say I think we would have talked about this card for sure if we had the podcast during Inklands.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
everybody was trying to do it.
Because everybody was trying to make this work. Everybody's like, oh my God, this card's gonna. I remember like going to like, playing sealed events and stuff, and like, oh my God, this card's gonna be amazing.
So the question is, Jafar. Well, obviously we all already know, and this isn't a leak. This is just I know this with the bottom of my heart that Red Genie Jafar will obviously exist in the new Jafar set, right? Probably a legendary, probably an enchanted, and so obviously their ability is going to be called Infinite Cosmic Power, right? What does it do?
Okay.
How is it better than Power Beyond Measure, right? What can we bring? It's I mean, Red Jafar kind of feels like it has to be Ruby, right? Maybe whenever you draw a card, banish chosen opposing character.
Oh. Whoa. That
Or
what?
Or
what? How do you deal with that?
Costs 12. No, I don't know.
Yeah, like the big Taka. Yeah.
No, there's another card. There's another card. It's actually the first colorless card. It costs 0.
Now we're going into
Nick.
magical Christmas land.
And it's called Itty Bitty Living Space. All right. And you play it and it just instantly banish chosen Jafar. Banish chosen genie.
I like
character.
I do like a great idea for a future collaboration.
I do like the feel. I was going to say that the giant red genie would basically be prepared on a body, but then not affect the card you play.
Ooh, when you play this character, banish all other characters.
Mm.
Oh,
that would be pretty
I
cool.
like that.
Yeah,
infinite cosmic power.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And then you bounce it and you play it again. And then you bounce it and you play it again. Let's go. Bye bye, Hiram.
Quest, bounce, do it again. Yeah.
All right. Artist showcase.
Yeah, if we want to move on to Artist Showcase, they have 10 cards in the game. No enchanteds yet. A lot of them are I shouldn't say a lot of them. 2 of them are Jafar based. This Jafar and the Giant Cobra from this set. Also from this set is the Restoring the Heart, the Amber Sapphire dual ink action, as well as the Floodborn Taka that we haven't seen make her way into the playability yet. Yeah, she's hard to get out there at 10 cost, shift 6 or shift 7 even. Woof. But the Alice T Alchemist, also from set 3, Blast from Your Past, the Li Shang Floodborn, Valerius General, the Mulan Elite Archer. Very cool card. I'm got the Spice card in my Mufasa right now, and the Yokai Floodborn.
You know what it just dawned on me right here as you're doing the Artist Showcase is one of the big things I was really looking forward to Worlds is about was meeting more artists.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's a huge bummer. I'm hoping that
we'll get
more of those.
Vince, you can hear them talk all about their art.
But then I can't get my cards signed.
I'm joking.
By them. I know. I'm just sad. I'm sad. You're joking.
Give me that.
I am thankful though that I know at least some of the artists will hopefully be at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Usually like 1 or 2 shows.
For sure.
ROV at Gen Con. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, let us know your thoughts on the Villain of the Week. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. And if you're listening from the year 2010, thank you for listening to us on Pandora.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you really should. We have a lot of fun over here. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe. Don't forget that bell icon. Be notified of our next episode. And if you are listening from 2010, let me know. That is crazy. You have time travel. I want some of it. Anyway.
Yeah, if you are, I would like to go back and go to Continentals. We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us. If you would like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, consider following us on our socials. We're on Instagram, Blue Sky, and the platform formerly known as Twitter @Rules of Villainy. We also have a growing community on Discord in which you can join at the link below.
Until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe heroes who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.